In the heart of the world's wealthiest nation, a stark reality persists. 37.9 million Americans live below the poverty line. This represents 11.6% of the population, a staggering figure that reveals a deep societal fissure. These individuals and families grapple with the daily struggle of making ends meet, often lacking access to basic necessities. Food, shelter, healthcare, and education, essentials that many take for granted, are often out of reach for millions. This stark reality of poverty, amidst plenty, raises profound questions about the American dream and the distribution of wealth in the United States. It underscores the urgent need to address the systemic issues that perpetuate poverty and create a more equitable society for all. The human cost of poverty is immense, with far-reaching consequences for individuals, communities, and the nation as a whole. The United States boasts the largest economy globally, measured by its gross domestic product, yet it grapples with a persistent and pervasive poverty crisis. This contradiction, the paradox of plenty, is a stain on the nation's conscience. How can a nation so wealthy be home to so much hardship? The answer lies in the unequal distribution of wealth and resources. While the United States excels in generating wealth, it falters in ensuring its equitable distribution. The gap between the rich and the poor has been widening for decades, creating a chasm that traps millions in a cycle of poverty and limits their life chances. The COVID-19 pandemic, which began in 2020, exacerbated an already dire situation. Millions lost their jobs, businesses shuttered, and the economy went into a tailspin. This economic turmoil disproportionately impacted low-income families and individuals already living on the margins. The pandemic exposed the fragility of many Americans' financial security. It highlighted the inadequacy of social safety nets and the precariousness of employment for many. The scars of the pandemic run deep and continue to impact poverty levels even years later. Income inequality is a major driver of poverty in the United States. The gap between the rich and the poor is wider than in any other developed nation. The richest 10% of Americans earn 13 times more than the poorest 10%, a disparity that has significant consequences. This concentration of wealth at the top leaves limited resources for those at the bottom. It creates a system where opportunities for upward mobility are scarce, and the cycle of poverty persists across generations. Addressing income inequality is not just a moral imperative, but an economic necessity for a more just and prosperous society. Section 5. A minimum wage, not a living wage. The federal minimum wage, a cornerstone of labor law, is intended to ensure a basic standard of living for workers. However, at $7.25 per hour, the federal minimum wage falls far short of a living wage, especially for families. The calculated living wage for a family of 4 in the U.S. is $24.16 per hour, a stark contrast to the current minimum wage. This disparity means that even full-time work at the minimum wage is insufficient to lift a family out of poverty. Millions of Americans, dubbed the working poor, are trapped in low-wage jobs that do not provide a pathway to economic security. Raising the minimum wage to a living wage is essential to ensure that work provides a dignified standard of living. Section 6. Safety nets with holes. Social safety net programs, such as food stamps, unemployment insurance, and housing assistance, are designed to provide a safety net for individuals and families facing economic hardship. However, these programs are often inadequate, difficult to navigate, and come with stringent eligibility criteria. Furthermore, many safety net programs are designed in a way that can discourage upward mobility. As individuals earn more income, they risk losing access to these crucial benefits, creating a disincentive to work towards financial independence. Reforming social safety nets to be more accessible, comprehensive, and supportive of upward mobility is crucial to effectively combat poverty. Section 7. Measuring poverty's reach. The official poverty measure used in the United States is based on calculations developed in the 1960s. While it provides a baseline, it is widely criticized for being outdated and failing to account for the changing realities of living costs and expenses. In 2011, the Supplemental Poverty Measure was introduced to address some of these limitations. The SPM considers a wider range of factors, including geographical variations in living costs, taxes, and government assistance programs. While the SPM offers a more comprehensive view of poverty, it still has limitations and requires ongoing refinement. Section 8. A Roadmap to Change. Addressing the complex issue of poverty in the United States requires a multi-pronged approach. Policy changes aimed at reducing income inequality, creating pathways to good-paying jobs, and strengthening the social safety net are crucial. Raising the federal minimum wage to a living wage, expanding the earned income tax credit, and investing in affordable housing are just a few examples of impactful policy interventions. Additionally, providing access to quality education, affordable healthcare, and job training programs can empower individuals and families to break the cycle of poverty. Section 9. Towards a more equitable future. Eradicating poverty in the United States is not simply a matter of charity but a matter of justice. It demands a collective commitment to creating a society where everyone has the opportunity to thrive. Accurate poverty measurement is essential to understanding the scope of the problem and tracking progress over time. Targeted social programs designed with dignity and respect for recipients are crucial to providing a pathway out of poverty. By investing in human potential and creating a more equitable society, the United States can live up to its ideals of opportunity and prosperity for all.